good way to scout your opponent to see exactly what's up. But it was just a little bit more than Speed Reapers. What I actually do, or excuse me, a little bit more than just a regular old Delayed Reaper. Anytime I'm trying to do a scout with this Delayed Reaper, I generally push the front with like Marauders or something to kind of freak him out. But in this case, it was the Terran trying to hold control of this Xel'Naga watchtower. And as a result, because HuK saw that he would be spotted so easily, he sent a lot of troops forward to kill that off, sending one Zealot that died, and then of course the Stalker there to finish cleaning up. So already some cool interactions. Protoss wants to get control of the middle, which he clearly does according to the minimap. And Mu wants to get a little bit of just general control of the game by trying to kill off this Reaper, which, as it turns out, happened a little bit later than ideal. But at the same time, the Stalker is going to have to pull back. And this is a typical transition by Mu. Anytime you do some sort of early aggression setup, you just start upgrading the stim pack, and then you just slam out a whole bunch of barracks. And this is the usual mix: 2 tech labs, 1 reactor. On Korean servers, it's sometimes 2 reactor, 1 tech lab, and just like mass stim marines. And even affording gas for a combat shield and that sort of thing, but either way, a cool little aggressive opening. So what are we seeing HuK do? Well, yeah, he got a second warp gate there. He can't quite use it. His economy is a little bit damaged. He's going for a very fast warp prism as well. We're going to see immortal drops in a minute, and I just wanted to say that I really am starting to think that you do need to get that first immortal up. Either go immortal observer, then something. Okay, there's the observer coming out, but I'm not the biggest fan of getting this really fast warp prism. I think the immortal should come first. And just a brief note, just a brief tactical thing to say. In terms of Reapers, people tend to try to poke in along this ridge right here. But this is also a very big vulnerable spot. Notice how HuK has 1 Zealot at the ramp, more Stalkers along this ridge, but pretty much nothing there. That's always a very good vulnerability for the opponents. So here comes a nice little push by Mu, marching along. Going to the Xel'Naga watchtower. Factory going up. Pretty typical as you push out with this style of play. You do end up with enough money to afford a factory. Can't really get that many more upgrades in there because you're kind of thin. And all your resources really have to be devoted to mules. You can't spend any of that energy on anything else. And look at this. This looks so bad for HuK right now. His immortal isn't quite out yet. And just look at this. Oh my god. And HuK pulling everything back. And look, barely getting these 2 Marauders in. Going to try to pick these guys off. Look at how far away everything is from this ramp. And trying to just skirt so gently around the edges. Mu knows that if he gets up the ramp, he's going to be in great shape. There's another just barely force field. That's so cool to see. Oh my god, HuK barely holding it off and target firing. Oh no, not target firing, actually accidentally going for a Marine. There it goes, some more nice shots, but then HuK barely defends. But god, Mu being super insanely aggressive here. And again, can't really afford to do something like scan up here. Does have 73 energy, but you're just a little bit low on resources to do everything you want. Even notice how Mu's getting a little bit money dry here. And here, there goes 1 immortal, 2 immortal. And HuK is content to just go into defensive stance with just 1 sentry. And of course everything here is back at the ridge, but look at this nice placement. And then of course zipping right back over here, and this is now becoming a really sweet game of Starcraft 2. Because what purpose did these immortals serve? Well, they really help defend the push, but then they're immediately being used to snap back and put a whole bunch of pressure back on. This isn't just a regular immortal drop. This was an immortal drop that was able to hold off pressure and deal with pressure thanks to some extraordinarily nice micro and some really nice timing. And now here go to supply depots. This is awesome. This is an exciting game. And of course, the one thing that immortals are best at are killing off supply depots. I definitely think that should be the #1 MO of any warp prism with immortals there, is just using them to take out these supply depots, instead of really so much just trying to kill off the workers. And Mu, sadly, has to go defend a little bit. And there is the very fast transition to some medevacs. And, you know, I don't actually think you need to get this reactor on this starport. As we've seen from Braddock's games that were done in one of the earlier dailies, Braddock got away with just 1 starport making medevacs, and it ended up being very, very effective, and his money ended up staying pretty low. It was this nice constant production. I think that if you get a reactor, it'll be a little bit jagged, and it won't be necessarily any more effective. And hey, look, HuK now. HuK's on the move, advancing forward using this immortal drop to try to pull Mu back. Mu now having to be really defensive. Notice how long these medevacs took to even get started because all the supply depots were done. And as HuK pushes to the front, here comes some immortal drops in the back. Oh god, it's such a waste to be shooting these SCVs. I mean, if he can kill one or two, even then, I don't think it's nearly as good at taking out a supply depot. Because look at this differential in terms of the food. 10 food ahead already. And in StarCraft 2, foods tend to be very, very even. In the meantime, HuK is just using some nice little tactics. He's not having an extremely expensive army at this point. But Mu now kind of has to make a bunker. He could get an engineering bay, but it's a little bit, takes a lot of time. If you make a bunker, it's just an easy way to throw some stuff up. But of course, the one issue with a bunker is that it is a building, so the Immortals just fire a couple times, and the health plummets. More burling going down on those depots, trying to keep up with the macro. Has he gotten combat shield? No, again, you can't quite afford that. But this is what's sweet about medevacs. Look, just whipping right back around. This is so awesome. And here, the Immortal's getting dropped. Looks like Mu will have to pull back, but in particular, Mu has to pull this whole army back. What an amazing way to peel units off the front of your main, is just to do these drops in the back. And this one Immortal getting caught off guard. And oh god, there's the stim going off. Taking out one Stalker. Some nice micro by HuK trying to suck these guys up and load, unload micro. There's a nice one trying to keep that Immortal alive as long as possible. Not really huge losses being taken by Mu, and some pretty scary times right here for HuK. This is, again, one of those interesting sorts of things that arise as players are starting to now get a little bit more comfortable with some of the early timing attacks. It's less about pure unit composition, because now that everyone knows the basic good unit composition, you have to do a little something extra. So yeah, Immortals are great, but you got to be very, very active with these dropships, and of course, Marauder Marine Medevac is good, but you have to be very good with this timing. And look, a nice little split of these units up here. Ooh, geez, now, I will say, it looks like salvaged on the bunker. I will say, with this many sentries, it's very hard for Marauders to be very effective. The force fields are going to do so much damage. Just cutting everything off, but oh, look, that's nice little juke, and then dropping in the back of the main. So kick-ass. And it's just, and it wasn't even a huge move out from HuK. I mean, just backing up 2 time steps. I mean, look at this army moving forward by Mu. And it's just general, basic, good attack time. Look, advances forward. How far did HuK move? Enough to try to get force fields out. And this is something that I think is fascinating about the force field as a spell. You kind of want to chase armies to cut them in half with force fields. In other words, it's much easier to pull a sentry-heavy army to a certain location, so that these sorts of drops can be more effective. This was an all-Stalker force. This drop here wouldn't nearly have been as effective because the Stalkers would fire a couple times and then just back up. But the sentries always make you want to chase. And look at Mu doing some serious damage to the mineral line. He will be able to take out one Immortal, target firing the second one. God, Immortals are so good. Oh god, they just deal so much damage. And Mu, again, getting out without really too many losses, and 2 Immortals falling for HuK. Oh, cool, they explode into goo? I didn't know that. I actually want to rewatch that. Because it's the 4th of July, we celebrate with things blowing up. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh my god, look at it, there's goo? This is so awesome, because I've never actually played this game on the medium graphics settings. I've only observed games. I only do the daily on the medium graphics settings, so... or should I say on the not low graphics settings. I only ever play on low, so it's kind of cool. I've never actually seen an Immortal die on anything but the low graphics settings. And it is certainly rewarding indeed. Such are the things that we will celebrate at the Day 9 Countdown Party held at Harvey Mudd College, and you should get tickets. day9tv.eventbrite.tv. No. It is day9tv.eventbrite.com. Sorry, Jesus. It's all me using my TV domain names. Oh, excuse me. And you know what's interesting is that TV... I actually looked this up. Now that I'm the proud owner of www.day9.tv, which reroutes directly to the stream you're watching. Yeah. But I looked this up, and TV is actually the island of Tuvalu, or Tuvala. It is not like a television or anything domain name, which is pretty cool. So yeah, big thanks for the kind gentleman Ian for hooking me up with that domain name. So anyways, returning right back here. So HuK is barely getting the chance to stabilize, hasn't really added on that many more gateways, because there's been so much aggression, and this is when interesting numbers kind of start to come about. I mean, notice that there are about 4 gateways here, and when I say about 4 gateways, I say exactly 4 gateways, and there they are. So, what's interesting is that these numbers kind of start to arise once you start experiencing a lot of serious aggression. And notice how these stalkers are getting in there and pushing all these guys back. Here comes another big drop. Oh god, and look at some movement over here. It looks like it's just a factory. But oh no, it looks like HuK was just not nearly well prepared enough. Didn't have any of these units. Look, any movement out is just suicide against this giant force of move. I would even really like to see more medevacs here, because there just are not that many stalkers in this mix. And it looks like he... Oh my god, nice force field going on there.